can't be in that picture right there, but it picks up everything that everybody says here. And I don't know that I've met you ladies before, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And welcome to the rest of you. And to the internet people, welcome to you also. We're glad you're here. This is Saturday Night Live, Life Recovery. And the reason why we call it Life Recovery, because we all need to recover from this life. Because life is messy. Anybody know that?
Yes.
Yes. And so we have to work our way through it. And so we are fellow strugglers. We're here struggling together, and we're making it. We're making it. We're making it. Do what? Step at a time. Inch by inch, it's all a cinch, right? That's right. And so tonight we're going to be talking about the fruit of forgiveness. It's out of, the scripture reference is going to be out of 2 Corinthians 2, 5 through 8. Let's see. Who's doing this tonight? Oh. So we'll ask Tommy this question since you're doing the lesson. Tommy, what does that mean, fruit of forgiveness?
I had a hard time with this.
Mm-hmm.
Means seeing the other side of the forgiveness, like all the way through.
Okay, Willie, you gotta. What is? No, you guys don't be too happy because I'm going to come to you here in a second. What would you say it means, the fruit of forgiveness?
That would be seeing sort of what Tommy said, that you're gonna mess me up on my deal here.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? It is a challenging question. Anybody else have an answer? Here. We'll ask Vanessa. She's the brainchild.
When we forgive, we let go of resentment.
Yes. And that would be called in the fruit of that forgiveness. Well, that's pretty good, huh? You guys like that one? Vanessa, you want to top that?
I thought Bobby was just going to answer for me. The fruit of forgiveness is, well, for me, it would be like how free I feel afterwards. So like the release, the betterness that comes from letting go of bitterness.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Or resentment. So I'm just stealing Bobby's answer.
Yeah, that's all right. You can steal Bobby's answer. So, Brandon, we don't want to leave you out.
I mean, as far as the fruit of forgiveness, I think it's long term, just in myself. I think I get freedom in myself, give that forgiveness, like we talked about tonight.
Okay.
I mean, long term, my loved ones and for forgiving myself, for what I've done. I think that brings freedom, it brings release, it brings betterment in my life, what I do. Everybody I have been a good on that. So I think it's a long-term benefits of what it brings.
I was smiling because for some reason it came to my mind back in school and particularly in college. Everybody talked about if you just keep writing stuff on there, they will go ahead and accept it because they figure you know something, but they're not sure what it was. You made me think of that when you were going through that. And see, we all have a sense of this, but I don't want to cut anybody else off. John, did you have anything you want to say?
Just trying to giving in and getting over your resentment, getting over your bad feelings towards others, towards other things and stuff like this is helps me out to get me back on the right track.
So I'm just gonna let the rest of you not sweat any longer and just, I'm not gonna force you, unless you have something you wanna say, ladies, you're welcome to. If you'd like to say, you're welcome to. James, if you like, Jimmy, you have something you wanna say, or, Jason, if you have something you wanna say, we'll leave you, going once, going twice.
It's a lifting piece that you feel.
A lifting piece, that's good. Well, how about if I give you my definition I wrote? How about that?
Okay.
We've already answered it.
Yeah, it is. You guys have answered it, but gosh, since I put this answer together and it's part of the title of tonight's program, can I at least say my title? Okay.
Throw it out.
All right. I've got the fruit of forgiveness is to help heal others' hurt or injuries and to heal our own core injuries.
I wasn't thinking about others.
I know, but
I'm on my fruit.
But tonight's lesson was talking primarily, is talking about dealing with others, but it also, when we get right, and that's what step 8 is about here, and that's what we're talking about. Step 8, we make a list of all persons whom we have harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. That's what that's about. Forgiveness is yes, it's about trying to work some way of having some reconciliation in relationships. But the biggest thing is healing ourselves. And that's kind of what Bobby was talking about, if I remember correctly. And so, but the path to our healing is dealing with the hurts and problems or offenses that we have occurred, and taking responsibility for them and trying to deal with them. Not that you can fix them, but you're trying to take responsibility for them. That can ease some of that pain, possibly. Whether it does or it doesn't, it begins to heal you at your core. That's what I get out of it anyway.
You know what I came to realize through the years, and it took me a long time through the steps, is, forgiveness is not about us. For our forgiveness comes from God.
Right.
We ask forgiveness, then we make amends. Our responsibility is to make amends to those we harm. Now, that's their choice whether to forgive or not.
And that's true. It is their choice.
Then they're the ones that either get the fruit of forgiveness or not.
They can, but going through that process, God is the best psychologist that ever is or will be. And he knows that even though we've been given that grace, that mercy that we talked about the last several weeks, oftentimes we're hard heads. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Hard heads? We're hard heads, and we feel like we have to process it, which we do. We have to process it, and going through making these amends, yes, it's to help them, but it really does the work on us, because being willing to go ahead and make those amends, and we're not talking about step 8 is not about making amends, it's being willing, okay? We're talking about just being willing here, okay? And part of that willingness is considering that I'm willing to forgive, and sometimes that's a big thing. But the rest of the story is if we don't, then we're continually swallowing poison that we're feeding to ourselves. So, step 8, that's what I want to be doing. Tommy's going to be talking about the reflection part of it. Willie and Brandon are going to be talking about the step part. So, did I mess you up good?
No.
Okay, all right. All right. Oh man, I got so many quotes I wanted to give you, but I wanted to ask you give you a simple puzzle. Anybody here ready for a simple puzzle? A thought puzzle? Okay, so.
You don't do simple things.
And so just give me your intuitive answer to this, okay? And that is, if a bat and a ball cost $1.10, and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how much does the ball cost?
10 cents.
Say
No.
10 cents, but it's probably not the right answer.
You said the bat and the ball, together cost $1.10.
That's correct.
Okay, never mind. It's math, I can't do this.
Well, mathematically, it's 10 cents, but go ahead.
You-
Leave it on.
Well, that is what most people say, like Jimmy said, 10 cents, but that's not right. Because if you, it's actually 5 cents.
Tax.
No, because if it's the bat, let's see let me remember how to do this. We normally think that, and so if you add it up, it's been a while since I did that. I put this down here to say that, but yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Go ahead, tell me.
Okay, so the ball's 5 cents and the bat's 5 cents, but the bat costs $1 more than what the ball does. So add $1 to the 5 cents, you got $1.05 for the bat and 5 cents for the ball.
Yeah, but there was $1. They were $1.10.
Dollar difference.
$1.10, and
I know, but $1.05 plus 5.
but $1 more than the ball. I'm gonna have to relook at that. Because the answer is 5 cents. I know the answer. But actually, the first time I heard this, I did the same thing, said 10 cents. And the psychologist that was giving the test said, that's not right.
So you're gonna leave with this with us?
I'll figure it out.
Until next week.
I'll figure it out here in a minute.
So 5 cents the ball, and then 5 cents over here. You just start with the 10 cents, 5 cents with the bat, add $1 because it's $1 more to the bat. You get what I'm saying? Maybe I'm just not saying it out loud very well. Like, yeah, so you just add $1 to the 5 cents, and then together, $1.05 plus 5 cents.
Yeah, but
It's
then that would make
$1.10.
then that would make the bat $1.05. If you
That's what it is.
It's $1.10. The bat and the ball costs $1.10.
Right, so the ball would be 5 cents and the bat would be $1.05, right?
I think that was the right answer. But if you said it was 10 cents and you add it to the,
Oh, you're right, yeah,
Okay.
gotcha. Yeah,
See,
she's right.
I told you, she can do math. This is out of a book called Fast and Slow Thinking. Anybody heard of that book? And he was talking about intuitive. We have an intuitive way of thinking, and because it's with our past experience, and sometimes our experiences can be very toxic. How about that word? You know what I mean? And so we have to be careful about our experience, but even in the best of times, sometimes our intuitive response is wrong. And so we have to be willing to slow down and think it through, and not just take our intuitive response. We need to do the slow thinking, do the, as he called it, the hard work. So
It is hard work.
sometimes it is. Oh, I'll save the rest of this for some time. So are you guys ready?
What's wrong with
Yep.
it?
All right. Thanks, everybody. And here we are. We're gonna have the music, and they're gonna come up and go forth. And
Vanessa and the boys.
That's right.
I'm tossing around Jim, Van, and the Maestro. How's that? So these are my friends, Brandy and Alyssa, back here. You guys good with me saying that in front of the camera?
Yep.
Okay.
hi, Brandy. Hi, Alyssa. Which one's which?
I'm Brandy.
She's shy.
Me too.
Great. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's slow this down. Goodness gracious. 2, 3, 4.
Hi, Sean.
All right. Roll with it, baby.
All right.
Sometimes you got
We've dusted the dirt off of a couple of these songs, so.
2, 3, 4.
This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Have y'all get up and dance, get some blood flowing. Some glad morning when this life is Yes, sir.
Come on down.
Thank you.
Right.
Good. Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Move on. Our microphone goes.
Step one, we admitted that we were powerless over our problems and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step two, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step three, we made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. Step four, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step five, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step six, we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Step seven, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. Step eight, where we are this month, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step nine, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You Willie.
Good evening.
Howdy.
The fruit of forgiveness, out of 2 Corinthians 2, 5 through 8, we made a list of all persons we were harmed. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Some of the things that we have done have earned us disapproval and probably loss of love. We have found that some people love us only if they can approve of our behavior. We may have struggled with bitterness towards them because we feel as if they have been trying to punish us if our sins have been made public, we may assume that we have lost the love of everyone who disapproves of our actions. This fear of rejection might defer us from reaching out to make amends. In the young Corinthian church, a man was cut off from the church fellowship when his sins were made public. After turning around, he tried to make amends. Some people refused to welcome him back into the church. And the scripture on this says that the Apostle Paul told the believers, the man who caused all the trouble hurt all of you more than he hurt me. Most of you oppose him, and that was punishment enough. Now, however it is time to forgive and comfort him.
What was that? Now, however, it is time.
Yes, I read that wrong. Now, however, it is time to forgive and comfort him.
The reason I did that is because that's significant. We understand that there was a time that they needed to forgive and comfort. That's what we're talking about. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Otherwise, he may be overcome by discouragement. So I urge you now to reaffirm your love for him. That is 2 Corinthians 2, 5 through 8. Some people will follow this advice and reaffirm their love for you when you go to them. There will be some people who will respond with forgiveness, comfort, acceptance, and love. This will help us overcome grief and bitterness and the discouragement we may feel. Their forgiveness will help us move on in recovery. Now, what I get that saying is that the people we go to comfort them, we worry more about what they're going to think of us, when really it's what we should be thinking that we're doing is right. I messed that up. Hold on. Let me go back in here again one more time. When he says in there, they hurt. The man who caused all the problems has hurt all of you more than he's hurt me. I got that they're putting more into it, more into the hate.
The man caused more hurt and harm on people in the church. They put him outside the church for a while.
Right.
Now, Paul's saying that most of you were opposed to him, which that wasn't necessarily wrong, except that time is over. Okay? And now he says, and that was punishment enough. And then that's where we restated that sentence a while ago. Now, however, it is time to forgive him. He messed up, but we need to go be willing to forgive him and comfort him.
I feel like that man is messed up now. I read it. I'm going to turn it over to you, Brandon, before I mess up real bad.
Thank you, Ellie.
How's everyone tonight? Right. Just kind of add on to what Willie had said about, we had, the fruit of forgiveness. I think that it's going to take time, you know, just like you had talked about,
Yes.
Doug, and, because, I mean, there's some people that, you know, they've heard what we've said, the wrongs that we've committed over and over, no matter what our wrongs are. I mean, we've gotta be sincere, and that's kind of what they still love us. I know for me, through all the years of my addiction and going through all of that, you know, especially one that I think for some reasons kind of upset and mad, and I have no question is my brother. You know, I see that, you know, I need to start realizing that, you know, I've put our family through a lot, you know. I've just got to realize it's going to take time for all of us. It doesn't matter if what we went through. It's going to take time for them to realize we're willing to change. And I've got to go through this program of recovery. It's took some time this time. But it says back kind of what you had read, Willie, what this is saying, this spirit of rejection might deter us from reaching out to make amends. You know, we may get rejected. It's kind of like what you said, Doug, last week, is about going to that person and acknowledging and trying to make amends, but we may have to allow them to meet it, because sometimes, you know, what we've done, they've heard it over and over and over, and it's going to take some reconciliation, trust. But I've seen myself, you know, I've heard even in all the times I've been through recovery, is it's a lot of times it's so much easier to forgive others, but it's not so easy to forgive myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've got to get off myself.
Yes,
You know, that's the big thing.
I agree
You know,
with that.
lately, especially.
Right. I agree with that.
For sure.
It's the enemy in me, right?
Right. And, you know, we want instant results, and we want to get better overnight. When that's not going to happen, you know, we can get in this overnight. We're not going to get well overnight. I mean, it's going to take some time, and it's.
You caused the question. So can I ask it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why is it that we expect people to forgive and forget all at once when we can't do that for ourselves?
I think it's easy because, well, I mean, it's not easy for them because they've seen it over and over and over.
It's easy for them not to forgive.
So,
Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But oftentimes we get mad and upset and frustrated because they don't believe us when we say we're sorry.
Right.
And why do we think they should believe us when we say we're sorry? Because we don't even believe ourselves most of the time.
right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So we need to do just exactly what you said a moment ago. And that's be able to forgive ourselves, walk in that grace,
Right.
and know that we've made a change, and that we have to walk that change out. And that's tough, hard stuff.
It's hard to get over it.
And people not accepting us, they're really doing us a favor, because that means we got to double down on what we're doing.
Right.
In my opinion. What do you think?
I do agree, for sure.
Because that's real recovery.
That's, like you said, it's the healing of ourselves that really needs to happen. If there's one thing I can't I've gotta get that healing myself. It's gonna take some time. It's this man, as we kind of look at this passage of scripture, it says, I'm not overstating it when I say, verse 5, I say that the man who caused all the trouble hurt all of you more than he hurt me. Most of you opposed him, and that was punishment enough. Now, however, it is time to forgive and comfort him. You know, the ones that, you know, this man had done wrong, but like you said, it took some time for them to realize this. You know, this.
Why do we hold on to our unforgiveness? Why would they hold on to their unforgiveness?
Is the trouble that we caused,
No, it's a protection mechanism. And so, even after they made the change, they're not ready to let go of their defense mechanism. And that's their issue. Right? And then they have to deal with being judgmental. Judge not, least you be judged. Which we talked about, I think last week, didn't we?
There's a lot of a lot of shame and guilt that comes with it, and we have to, I think, love ourselves most of all and forgive ourselves, because there's a point to get ourselves going, but we've got to forgive ourselves and be willing to realize that as we give ourselves, then forgiveness will come with that.
So what did you get most out of this lesson?
I've got to be willing to forgive. I've got to be willing to make amends to them. You know, even in spite of all of that rejection, because it frees me of all of that. So,
Are you sure about that? You say that like you're not really for sure.
well, I believe it.
Okay. You're working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, I'll buy that statement.
Okay, so with that, I'll pass. Thanks.
Thank you. Here comes the fun.
Must be have some questions.
Oh, not yet, but I'll have some.
All right. Hi, everybody.
All right, Tommy. Hey, Tommy, what'd you get out of this lesson?
I'm getting ready to share that with you.
Okay.
I had a hard time at the beginning of the week with it, but I got better. The fruit of forgiveness. Is there anyone on my list whose behavior I do not approve? Who and why? Me. And I picked some of my family members because I put for being rude and starting unnecessary drama with each other. But me, I disapprove of me because sometimes I don't forgive other people when I should in my family, and so it causes the tensions today. Am I willing to let go of judgment in
Hey,
this?
can we back
Yes.
up just?
Oh,
right-
yeah, go
can we
ahead.
Back up just right there. One thing we need to get some clarification on.
Okay.
Because when we forgive, it's not just forgiving them and then letting them do it to us again.
No.
Okay, we forgive, but we have healthy boundaries
I have to learn to set those boundaries
and then enforce those boundaries.
and enforce them. If not, it's going to be the same cycle.
Well, because they haven't changed, you're the ones trying to change. And you have to make the change because you danced to dance with them before.
So yes,
And you have to stop dancing to dance.
exactly.
And that's by
Set boundaries.
setting boundaries and then reinforcing those boundaries. And we're not talking about being hateful, we're not talking about
No.
being mean, we're talking about being healthy and respectful.
Then maybe they see that and it helps them.
Well, they may, but they'll probably start off not liking it. Because you change,
Because it's changed,
because you stop being their dance partner.
they didn't have a sparring partner no more.
Yeah,
Or that person,
what do you think about that?
I like that.
Yeah.
Make some boundaries. Am I willing to let go of judgment and disapproval to open myself up to working this step? And I said, yes, I want healing in these relationships.
So you're saying you are willing to let go of judgment and disapproval?
Yes, as long as I can learn new things to have.
Oh, we're gonna qualify it, as long as I learn, I'll let go.
I hope to learn new things so I didn't have to replace it with that negativity.
So you gotta learn before you let go?
No.
Oh, that's what it sounds like.
But I'd like to learn to, that's what I'm stupid. Whoops, messed that one up. No, I don't have to learn to let go first.
Oh, okay.
No, not
So-
at all.
Basically, we kinda have to let go to be able to learn, don't you think?
Yeah, because if not, I'll be still wrapped up in all that mess.
Okay. But that's not the way we think. Well, if I learn, then I'll let go, that's,
I just realized I think like that. I didn't realize that.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You're not the only one.
Man,
You don't have to change the subject, but I was thinking about that ball and bat.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Talk about
Okay.
that in a minute, when I get up.
Alright. So I think I know what.
I was able to think about it, and I've got it worked out now, so.
I'm glad you got that figured out.
Go ahead.
Have I been so afraid of rejection that I delayed willingness to make amends? And I put yes.
Wait a minute, read that again, because my mind's still on the ball and back.
All right.
All right. Question number 3, right?
Yes, number 3. Have I been so afraid of rejection that I delayed willingness to make amends? I put yes. And who could reject me and why? I have a brother that we've never seen eye to eye, like our entire life. And I've tried to reach out to him years ago. It's been a long time. But my thing now is I'd be afraid that I don't meet his standards. He'd still see me as an addict. My fear of rejection, just the whole thing.
Hey, are you up to a challenging question?
You're really good at it, Tommy.
All right, come on with it.
This might be a little personal, but we can back out of it if we need to. If your brother, he sees you in a particular way, doesn't he have a right to see you any way that he chooses to see you?
Yeah, because I see him as a good person now, opposed to back in the
But I
day
mean-
when we were arguing all the time.
But my question is, doesn't he have a right to think the way
Yes.
he wants to think?
Yes, especially for all the stuff I tried to do.
And so he has a, you can see why he might do or think the way he thinks.
Yes,
And then why should we be mad at him or upset or displeased with him because he's only being the way he's choosing to be?
so is that where the fruit of forgiveness comes in?
I think so.
Yep.
So that if I'm able to recognize that I'm walking in that forgiveness and that grace, he's all twisted up from the past, and so he can be that way, but that doesn't mean that we have to reinforce
That makes
those
sense.
thoughts. And he has a right to be that way, and that's that venting that Brandon was talking about a while ago, right?
Yep,
And that's just poison from the past. And it's up to him working through that, but he has a right to be, angry, upset, and even stupid if he wants to be, right?
Yes,
And,
I may not like it, but
we don't have to like it, but isn't it rational to accept things the way they are instead of saying he has to be different because I say so?
exactly. Very true. I believe that.
So that wasn't too hard of a question.
No, it wasn't.
So he has a right to be mad if he chooses to be mad.
Yes,
And you can say, I can understand that,
yes,
but I'm still sorry.
yes.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Well, that was my thinking when I was, in my addiction and alcoholism.
We're gonna have to speak a little louder.
I said that was my deal when I was in the addiction and alcoholism was, well, I'd be okay if everybody would just do and be as I think they should.
And so, are you done?
Yeah, come on down.
Okay. And so,
Oh, I forgot to put your stool back.
I got it. I think I got it. Thank you, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Thanks, Brandon. And thank you, Willie. I tried to hold back on most of the questions tonight because I thought I would like to get through the 10 protocols for forgiveness. Yeah, 10 protocols, teaching back. But back to the bat and ball. The bat and ball, if you were, the question stated, a bat and ball costs $1.10. And the bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the bat cost? And Jimmy, you wanted to say something? All right.
Yeah, this is my answer. There could be more than one answer.
No,
The
there's
ball could be 7 cents and the bat $1.03. Or the ball could be,
no, it can't be.
no, you didn't say the price of either item.
I know, but we did say a price. We said that
Together.
the dollar, it was $1 more. It's $1 more. So the in number, the bat has to be $1 more than the ball. So if you had,
That's $1.05 and the ball's $0.05.
that's it. Right, because it's $1 more. It doesn't say it's $1.05, it's $1 more.
Right, well, say if the ball was 3 cents and the bat was $1.03, that would still be $1 more.
Yeah, but didn't that only be $1.06?
But it didn't say the total price.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it says the bat and ball costs
Oh,
$1.10.
Oh,
But you're on the right track.
oh,
You were thinking about it, so congratulations.
okay.
Now, according to him, that 60 to 75% of MIT and Harvard students come up with the same answer that we did, 10 cents.
Well, that's because the initial thought is the bat costs $1.
Right, right. And so that's, and when I was doing it, I couldn't think, I couldn't pull it up. So anyway, but anyway, that's, so if you, for the rest of everybody, if you write down that the bat, if the ball was 5 cents, then the bat has to be $1.05 because then that's the only way it can be $1 more than the ball. Just like she said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
She's a liberal arts degree, and I'm a accounting degree. Go figure.
See the pictures.
All right. So that takes care of that. And again, what I'm going to be talking about I want to tie in, which I've already given you my definition of the fruit of forgiveness, is the number one nugget that I want us all to get is that it's the benefit that we get out of forgiveness. And that as is what is said, that, we take poison, and we figure the other person will die from it. And that's the way unforgiveness works, is because it's a poison. It's a form that we use to try to protect ourselves, and we hold the grudge, but it poisons us. It doesn't protect us. Well, in a sense, there is a force that pushes people back, but is that worth being emotionally poisoned for? Healthy boundaries, like we were talking about a while ago with Tommy, is so important. But oftentimes our first instinct, our human instinct, is to use emotion, anger, to do our work for us, instead of actually being thoughtful, just like what we were talking about with the bat and ball, actually thinking about it, and using healthy boundaries is thinking instead of an emotional reaction. Okay? And then employing those boundaries to help us navigate. And so as we learn to do that, as we begin to have those healthy boundaries, people will slowly see us in that change, because we are recovering from the inside, and then our behaviors are will emulate the changes that we have. If we don't change, our behaviors emulate them too, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right. Okay. By the way, I made some copies of this protocol, and they're back on the back table. So, but the forgiveness protocol, and this is about what do you do? What do you do if you find out that you've hurt or harmed somebody? And that's what we've been talking about, okay? And that you want to revive the relationship or improve it. How do you make a complete, complex, healing apology that addresses the injured parties, injured parties' pain, and with possible need of retaliation? Because, and we kind of touched that a while ago with your brother, Tommy, that he still has the memory and probably the pain of all that hurt, and he's still reacting to it. And that's where he's at. And as we talked about last week, and we'll touch it again on some of the protocols, then we have to give people an opportunity to work through that. And your response when they retaliate, how you respond, can be vitally important to how they begin to see you, because you're acting different, you're functioning different, you're not reacting, you're responding in a healthy, appropriate way. Does that make sense? Okay? So this is, again, this is that article out of Psychology Today, and I was looking for her name. I think it's on that sheet there, but I don't seem to have it right here right now, but it's in here somewhere. There it is, by Judith Eve Lipton, MD. Okay, all right. I want to touch the 5 that we've already been through, just to kind of give us an update. Is that okay? Yeah. And the number 1, as we said, you say you're sorry. Even if you don't think they'll believe you, you try to say that you're sorry, and you say it in such a way that you mean it, okay, and that you say, I am sorry. And knowing that they probably don't believe it, but you got to say it anyway, because people have to hear okay? They have to hear. Words are so important. Your words, you hearing yourself say it, helps you also. Okay? Number two, make an inventory. You really need to get some clarity on what's going on. So, but make an inventory on how your behavior might have hurt or harmed someone. Might, okay? You don't know. See, we think we know how other people were hurt and harmed, but we don't know for sure how people were hurt and harmed, right? So we're trying to build an idea, and we're just speculating how they were hurt and harmed. Well, we know some things, but there's a lot of things that we don't know. Would you agree with that statement? So, and then you ask that person if the list that you have compiled was complete, and then correct it. Okay, and then reflect on it, okay, with that person, and then communicate to them and try to find out what the cost of what had happened, and not just financial, but we're talking about mental, emotional, maybe even traumatic cost, okay, of your behavior. Number three, say you're sorry again. And I know you just said it, you already said it, it's the old thought, well, I said it once and once is enough. No, it's not. You have to reinforce that, not only for yourself, so you can hear it, but also to the other person, okay? And then be prepared to say it many more times.
I would challenge that if you feel like once is enough, do you really mean it?
It could be, but I would say we all have said that.
Yeah.
And
That question was kind of for myself.
yeah, well, I agree. I don't know that, because the fact of it is, like Brandon was talking about, we haven't really forgiven ourselves, even though we're saying we're sorry. We are sorry. Sorry is not forgiveness yet, okay? Sorry is that I don't like what I did. I don't like what I did. I don't like what I did to you. And I'm sorry that I did that, but that's what I did. Okay? And that's not what I want to be. And that's how, and we have to be able to formulate that in our own thinking about what it is that we want to be, who we want to be. Does that make sense? And I believe this, I believe how you acted was not the way you really are anyway. Because if you recognize that you've done something wrong, then that behavior has conflicted with your deep internal perception of yourself. Even though there may be a part of you that sees yourself as a rotten, no good, whatever, okay? But the fact of it is, down deep, that's not the way I want to be, because you have a different, deeper perception of yourself. Although sometimes we've covered a lot of that up. You know what I'm talking about? Right. Tell the other person exactly how you understand the cost of your behavior. And all you can do is tell them what you think. Not that I see it all, know it all, but you got to start someplace, okay? And so you start communicating. And sometimes when you're wanting to try to make amends or to restore a relationship, they don't want to talk, okay? Because they don't trust you. They have a right to think that. Do they not? They heard it before. And how you respond to that determines how things are going to go. Maybe not right this very moment, but how they're going to go sometime. And that is, you have a right to say that. You have a right to think that. I understand. But I'm sorry, and I don't know all the ways that I hurt you, but and this is where it goes into saying, allow that person to vent, to elaborate, to reiterate as needed. so that that person may really feel heard. And I know I've talked with people and they're in a disagreement with other people, and they will ask me, they said, well, when do I get to say something?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? That's what they say. When do I get to say something? They go on for an hour and I can't even defend myself. That's right.
You have no defense.
You know, well, they misunderstood. Well, they may have misunderstood some stuff, but they didn't misunderstand at all. And how you respond, okay, how you react or respond, okay, really determines how things go on from there. Because this conversation is actually setting up the next one. Does that make sense?
Well, and I found, sometimes it takes considerable time, like years, But if you're doing your part, stay clean, sober, doing what you're supposed to do, and keep reiterating.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then they have to see by your actions, oh my gosh, you mean it.
Because they don't believe the words, okay? But the words are important, but they don't believe the words, but you have to follow through with your actions, because your reactions, if you react in a negative way, then you're sending that same tired message.
Sorry, all over again.
And so that was number 4. Okay, they need to be heard. All right, being heard doesn't clean it all up, but it's a beginning. Okay, it kind of potentially lets some of the pressure out of the kettle. So number 5, clarify with the other person if your behavior was a simple accident. Now, this step 5, if it's a real serious offense, kind of like you were talking about, this is not in the early meetings. Okay, this is down the road. Okay, it don't matter about your clarification in the beginning here. Okay, it does matter somewhere, but it's not in the beginning, and it may be months, it may be years, it may never be. But this is some of the pathway, and all you can do is try to get better. Take care of yourself. Stay sober. Stay doing the right things, doing the healthy things, making the healthy choices. Stop doing stupid stuff that sabotages your life and everybody around you. Right? So it says here that you clarify with this other person if that behaviors was a simple accident, which that's now, if it's not most of what we're talking about are extreme things. If it's not an extreme thing, then possibly you're able to say it was an accident, it was a mistake. Okay, it was a miscalculation of cost and benefit. I misfigured. Okay, and if you haven't already done that 100 times, then this might be a good statement. And then or company says it was a deliberate act. Okay. More on that. This part is not easy and takes time and attention. Takes time and attention. It takes emotional focus. Okay, to stay in there, because you're walking into a emotional arena, and you cannot emotionally react. You have to make choices, positive, healthy choices. Thoughtfulness is their term. You gotta have thoughtfulness. It is one of the most important common sources. Thoughtlessness is what they said. Thoughtlessness is one of the most common sources of problems. Just not even thinking about it, because you, particularly in addiction, you're not thinking about anybody but you. And you lie, cheat, and steal in the process. I hope that's not too hard, even though it's the truth. And may reflect reoccurrence of self-centeredness. Okay, so that thoughtlessness is that could be the reoccurrence, and that's where we have to move away from and understand that this process here is about me recovering. I'm learning something. I'm developing something. I'm growing in this. Does that make sense? Okay. Intentional acts of revenge or malice also requires great insight to acknowledge, and that's to acknowledge. And so it happens. And I want to jump down here to this one statement down here, and that was on number 10. And but I think it's such a thing I like to put in here, and I think I mentioned it last week. It says too many people believe that simply saying sorry one time should be sufficient. If you have hurt someone's feelings, okay, if you've hurt someone's feelings. However, the legal code is more clear if you've hurt somebody's car. If you've messed up somebody's property, it's pretty clear. You have to pay for the damage. So emotionally, I wonder what that means. We have some emotional payment that we have to go through. You say, well, I'm forgiven. Yeah, but things are not healed yet. There has to be a change inside. And see, we have to deal with our terrible stuff inside. And that's what recovery is, having the change inside. And oftentimes we don't change unless we have pain. We should be able to change by an act of character. But none of that's been demonstrated up to this point in people in active addiction. Is that too hard?
No, that's true.
So, you can say whatever you want.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know, I'm struggling with, like, especially number 4, allowing them to vent, like, because I know personally for me, a lot of my intentional causing pain was like a response to them hurting me. And so I think it would take you'd have to forgive yourself and come to a place of peace, I guess, within yourself before doing number 4, because what if that opens up a whole new wounds, and potentially allowing somebody who abused you, or you feel like they abused you, allowing them to continue to do it.
Okay, now you're talking about on the person that was abused side right now, right? Okay.
But it would be retaliation abuse. So,
Yes, but this is written for the person that was the abuser,
okay.
the predator, okay? And yet, but the truth, your statement is true. It does open up old wounds, and particularly if they're traumatic issues, you're going to trigger people to go through their reaction. That's the reason why I say you have to expect that they're going to act that way, okay? Because unless they've done their own personal work and come to the place that they're better, then they're going to retaliate that way. But that, just even if they have done their personal work, and I'm talking about the one that's been abused, if they've done it properly, they got healthy boundaries, and they're not just going to let you waltz back into their life. And they I would say, well, like the scripture here is this young man has made a shift, and we need to forgive him and let him back in and affirm him before he gets to a place that he goes into being overly discouraged or falling into a state of nihilistic emotional nihilism, which means hopeless. So we have, but what you're talking about there, and you're talking about from the person being abused, and I understand that. It's a messy thing, but this is written from if you want to reestablish or make a relationship better. And that's what making amends is about, is trying to make things better with other people and with ourselves. We're trying to heal our own soul by cleansing it, by going ahead and taking responsibility for our past actions. Whether we did it intentionally or under the influence or in unconscious actions, I'm still responsible for everything I did.
And also, you know, if we're making amends saying, I'm sorry, we can't just automatically expect forgiveness.
No,
You know?
because we had, like we was talking with Brandon, we haven't even really forgiven ourselves yet.
Yeah.
We're
All you're doing is doing the best you can to make amends.
we're the process is what's helping us.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the fruit is about. We're trying to grow some fruit, but we haven't even got we haven't got we haven't got to the blooms yet. Okay, but we're trying. We're heading down that road. Okay, we're going. Yeah, we're trying to get some stuff to happen here, and we're trying to make this big old turn because we don't even know how to talk yet, to communicate. Okay, because we're so used to blaming everybody else for what I've done, and it's not my fault because it's got to be somebody else's fault. You know how we are. Okay, and so we're trying to change ourselves. And what this is, I liken it to this, that making amends with people is like in sports, it's practice time. You're practicing to try to learn how to do something. And it's trying to learn how to do life. My friend Steve Metzger used to say, people ask him, well, this one man asked him, says, you know, we know all about your past and all that stuff. How are you doing so good? He said, well, when I came out, I came to the place that I figured I had to learn how to do life. And so he's, you know, he made, now, did that mean that he had it all together all at once? No, none of us did. But, you know, it's a process. Okay, and that's what we're talking about here. And I think it's good. We're not going to get any further tonight. But I think it's good that we go through, because I said 3 weeks ago, this is important stuff, and I want to go through it. I want to work through it. And so,
I think, sorry, because what I'm struggling with is like, I've come to a place where like, I realized that I, you know, became abusive, but that was after being abused. So it was like reactionary abuse. And so like, when do you know, to take the blame for the abuse, even when you feel justified because you were abused? That's where I'm struggling.
okay. And you're asking me a question, right?
Yes, like.
And I don't answer questions that people don't ask.
Well, where's the cutoff? Like, how do you know when to identify when it's your fault or it is their fault instead of, because a lot of times people think you're just blaming others and not owning your stuff, but that's not always the case. Like,
Well,
there's
maybe
blame on both sides.
it's like two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. Well, that's the easy answer.
Well, that's so simple there. But
Why didn't you just remove yourself from the situation?
So it's understandable.
It don't matter, it don't matter.
That way.
All of what that happened is not the issue. She's asking about how do we do this? And Jamie's on the right track, okay? And that is that, we have to take responsibility for our actions no matter the situation. Okay? If I did something wrong, I did something wrong. Well, I have a right to do something wrong. That's what you say, but is that really true?
I guess I have where it keeps me from making an amends with these people who have abused me is like, I don't want to open myself up. I don't want to open that door. I might not necessarily be trying to restore a complete relationship with them, but at least reduce tension or something. But I don't want them to think, oh, they're welcome back.
Yeah, and I think that goes to one of the questions that Tommy asked about a fear of rejection or a fear of an issue. So I don't move down this road, and you're stopping yourself before you get anywhere. That's what it sounds like to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the reality here is we're responsible for our side of the street, right? I'm trying to use terminologies that we're familiar with. And so we're responsible for that. Even if they threw stuff over on my side of the street, they shouldn't do that, but I'm still responsible for my side of the street. And if I get mad and shoot them for doing that, I'm responsible for that. Right? And so I have to deal with that. And so, but you're not, some people, now I'm so glad you helped me bring this up in my thinking. Some people think that I am gonna make myself do amends to make me better. I'm gonna force myself into this knothole because it's right, and force myself to do something. And that is a good intention, but the trouble is that's doing self-harm, in my opinion, because it's not. You are trying to force yourself to do something, which it takes effort to do it. But if we do it because I'm just supposed to, okay, or I'm going to be punished if I don't, okay, because sometimes religious people teach it that way, and I know there are scriptures that pretty much kind of infer that, but the fact of it is that love doesn't force. Love makes a way, love heals, love provides, love nurtures, love helps, okay? But it doesn't force.
Well, the way I see it, the jumping to step 9 is willing to make amends unless to harm them or others. And you could be one of the others, like in her situation. She could be willing to make amends, but it just wouldn't be a good thing to do.
It may not be, but she's not even ready. What I was saying a while ago, she's not ready to do that.
What's that step?
Excuse me?
Willing.
Well, yeah, willing. That's what we're talking about, becoming willing. We're not talking about doing it. We're just talking about being willing. And if I heard you correctly, I'm not willing because I'm afraid that it may open something up. Well, and that's very true. But then we go back to what we were talking about with Tommy. We have to have healthy boundaries. And the rest of the story here is that you may be quite a ways away from being able to make step 9, because we're just talking about step 8 here, being willing. Step 9 is making a plan and a list of people and making that step. But again, we can't do. We're not. And thank you, Jimmy, for bringing this. We're not to do harm to ourselves or anybody else in that process. And sometimes we feel like some people will, I gotta make amends, so I don't care what kind of fallout there'll be. Okay, and that's unhealthy, that's
It's
destructive.
like, say, try to make amends to your old drug dealer because you ripped him off or something.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't be a good situation.
That, so, all right, we're over time.
I was thinking about that,
Not
that bull one again. And actually, I've decided there's two answers.
Okay,
It could be $1.05 and 5 cents, or it could be $1.10. Either way would make it $1.10 and $1 over.
One had, the bat has to be $1 more.
Right, so $1 back, 10-cent bulls, $1 more, or 5-cent
That's
bull,
only
and
96.
$1.05 is also $1 more. So either answer is right.
may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you and give you his peace.
All right?
And next week we'll be here, but we won't have our discussion time. We may have to kick this down into step 9, which would be okay to kick this into step 9, right? So,
Well, by the way, Doug.
Thanks,
when you look
everybody.
at Stuff,